Hello. Welcome on back to my channel. For today's look, I'm creating something that I've been wanting to create for well over a year now. It's all brown monochromatic look that's perfect for the fall season. Really, it's quite perfect for any time of year, to be honest. But once again, I'm partnering up with Sephora in honor of their holiday savings event. So every single product I'm using today, you can find in store or on Sephora.com. So without further ado, if you want to learn how I created this look right here, then keep on watching. So to begin, I'm using the Dewy Skin Cream from Tatcha to prep our model's skin. It's been a minute since I've used this, and trust me, I've missed it. It's one of my favorite moisturizers to work with. It hydrates the skin so well and makes the foundation we put atop of it just sink right in. I never have to worry about the makeup piling up on top of this, you know? It's just a really reliable product that performs beautifully every time. Once I have this worked into the skin, I'm heading over to the Laniege Lip Sleeping Mask to prep and hydrate the lips. Now, this is another product I use all the time. I usually do this step off camera, but for kicks and giggles, I thought I'd include the footage today. I love the way this delivers that intense moisture to the lips, which is why I not only use it on my clients and models, but also on myself every single night in my nighttime skincare routine. Unlike a normal lip balm, it doesn't disappear after an hour or so. It stays on and works its magic and leaves your lips feeling so amazing. Okay, for foundation, I'm using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Foundation, and I'm actually using two different shades of this today. The first one I'm using is the shade 360, and I'm focusing this more so in the center of her face. Like most people, especially those with deeper skin tones, the perimeter of the face is going to be deeper in tone than the center. So I want to get that natural balance by using two different shades to replicate her natural skin tone. And then I'll head in with the second shade here in just a minute. But before I do that, I'm going to color correct with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Vanish Color Corrector, and I'm applying this onto the areas I want to correct, such as around the mouth and eyes. Now, this comes in 4 different shades. The one I'm using here today, though, is shade 3 Tan, which has more of an orange undertone to it for the medium to deep skin tones. In fact, I'd say in person, it's a little more orange than it looks here on camera, which is great because that's exactly what we need in order to color correct. If you have more fair skin tone, then you're going to want something that's a lighter pink salmon color. And if your tone is deeper, you'll want something with oranges and reds. But either way, this is a cream consistency. So once I apply it on, I like to blend it out with my finger and really press it into the skin. Once I've done so, I'm going to move on to applying the second shade of foundation. This is the same Fenty Beauty Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Foundation, but this time in the shade 445. And I'm using this in the areas of the face I want to add back some dimension in. So the hollows of the cheekbones, around the perimeter of the forehead, and the nose. This foundation is perfect for today because it is what it's called. It's a soft matte finish. Usually you see me go for more of a highlighted dewy look, but today I'm gonna switch it on up. We're going for a real soft, diffused, clean matte look for the skin. But it's not gonna look matte. You know what I mean? To a point where it looks dry. It's gonna have a soft, healthy sheen to it. And a lot of that has to do with not only the foundation we're using, but also the skincare we used earlier to prep the skin with. So now that we have this applied, I'm going to come back in a second to further blend this in. But first, I'm using the Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer from One Size and applying this to the under eye area, the cupid's bow, chin, and the center of the forehead. Now, you may be thinking, Spence, why are you going in with another layer of product? She already has the foundation and that color corrector on. Well, I'm not necessarily doing this for the coverage, y'all, but more so to add back the undertone I want. Our model has these beautiful golden undertones to her skin, and I don't want to lose that. So I'm using this concealer in the shade Medium Dark 1G to add back a smidge of that yellow tone, and I'll then grab the sponge to blend everything together really, really well, which is easy with this concealer. That's why I love it. It blends like a dream. I mean, All of the products I'm using today, I love. These are all products I would add to my Sephora shopping cart. And speaking of, the Sephora Holiday Savings event is happening right now, as I said in my intro. In fact, today, November 15th, the day I post this, is the last day of the event. So grab what you need at a good deal while you can. I placed my order yesterday. I stocked up on my skincare, my foundations. I got some Christmas gifts, for friends and family. What else did I get? I got the Dyson Air Wrap because, I've been wanting to try it, but I also got the Dyson hair dryer because I broke my hair dryer while I was traveling a couple of weeks ago. I plugged it into a European outlet and I nearly set the hotel on fire. It was a disaster. Anyways, the point is, I saved a ton of money because I had the 20% off as a ROUGE member. So ROUGE members get 20% off, VIB members get 15% off, and insiders get 10% off. And we can use it as many times as we want during the savings event, in store or online. Although, I will say, if you place your order online, you have to use their code YAYHOLIDAY at checkout. I'll link that info down below so you have it, along with all the products I'm using here today. I'll even include the link to sign up for their Sephora Beauty Insider program in case you aren't already a member. There's honestly so many perks to being a part of it, but regardless, every tier of the program is eligible to shop their event right now, so try to take full advantage of it while you can. Okay, now that we're finishing up on this blend tier, it's time to set everything into place. To do so, I'm using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Matte Setting Powder in the shade 3.0 Golden Neutral and applying this on with a powder puff. If you like a matte finish, these powders are fantastic. I think Makeup Forever does a really, really nice job with their complexion products, specifically the powder-based formulas. Their pressed foundation powders are beautiful. So are their blushes and their translucent powder. They're all great, but this one here is perfect for those who like a really matte finish, but also a powder that has some colored pigment in it. This powder comes in 6 different shades, catering to those with fair skin tones, to those with deep skin tones, and everyone in between. Once again, I chose this shade here because it has that yellow golden undertone to it that I'm trying to complement in her skin tone, just as we had done with the concealer. Next up, I'm using the Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r bronzer in the shade Island Ting to lightly warm up the areas of the face we had applied the second foundation shade earlier. So the hollows of our cheekbones and the perimeter of the forehead. And we don't need much of this either. Just a little bit will go a long way. Once I have that bronzer applied, I'm heading back to the Makeup Forever powder to bake her jawline. I do go in heavy with this because, well, that's the whole point of the baking method. I bring this right up to where we had placed that bronzer, and when I wipe this away after I do the eye makeup, it'll leave the most beautiful highlight that complements her bone structure. For blush, I'm using the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Powder Blush in the shade Wildberry and placing this right along that bronzer. Because this is a deeper shade blush, I like bringing this along the same area of the cheekbone rather than just popping it on the apples of her cheeks. It's going to support the natural contours of her face while also adding that beautiful hint of berry toned color. To begin on the brows, I'm using the Kosas Brow Pop Pencil in the shade Dark Brown to define and shape her brows. I read a comment the other day from someone saying something to the effect they wanted me to do bolder brows or thicker brows or something like that. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm building this up to get that bold shape we're looking for, which I think will balance out nicely with the soft, smoky eye we're doing. And this pencil is great for this because it has that refined edge to it that allows me to get that precision I want. The Anastasia Beverly Hills pencils are great for this too. The Benefit pencils are. Sephora has some great ones as well. By the way, I meant to say earlier that during the holiday savings event, all Sephora collection products are 30% off. So if you're looking to try out their product, now would be a great time. You can even do this with a brow powder, by the way, if you prefer using brow powders. But for a bolder brow, I usually like to use a pencil. Okay, moving on for eyes, I'm starting out by running that Fenty bronzer on top of the upper lid. You don't have to be perfect with this since this is just going to act as a backdrop to the shadows we place on top of it. It's almost acting as a blueprint, if anything, for how far and out we're going to blend the other shadows. So dipping into this dark brown cream base from the Tatcha Major Dimension eyeshadow palette, I'm placing this on the lid, starting from the lash line and working my way up. I'm not going too crazy with the amount I'm using here. I'm keeping it really soft and settled because it's always easier to add than it is to take away. You know what I'm saying? And the brush I'm using is just some standard brush I think I got from, some Urban Decay palette. I'm using one end to apply on the cream pigment and the other end of it to diffuse out the edges. And then using these two shades together from the same palette, I'm setting that cream product into place. Think of it almost like your complexion products. We use setting powder to set the foundation and concealer into place. Well, it's the same with the eyes in this situation. We're using the powder eyeshadow to set that cream pigment. I love using creams and pencils on the lids. For some reason, I've always had an easier time blending cream shadows than I have powder eyeshadows because sometimes in these tutorials, my eyeshadow can look a little busted when it comes to the blending, but I never have those problems with creams. They've always kind of been my best friend when it comes to blending. And by the way, the same goes for the bottom lash line here. As you see, I apply the cream and then diffuse and smoke it out with a shadow. For this look, I'm not being shy with how much I diffuse this out. I want this to look sultry and smoky. Next, I'm using the One Size Point Made Gel eyeliner pencil in the shade Busty Brown and running this through the waterline. Of course, if you want to make this extra dramatic, you can use a black pencil instead, but honestly, I just don't think it's the same. Sometimes a brown pencil is all you need to get some soft dimension without the extreme intensity that a black pencil can give. And here I'm once more taking a shadow brush and diffusing the edges, softening the inner portion of the brow. I think I applied a little too much and it was looking a bit too intense for me. Okay, using the Huda Beauty Legit Lashes double-ended mascara, I'm running this through the top and bottom lashes. One end of the mascara is for curl and length, while the other is for volume. The side I'm using here is the volume side. I'm going to get the length from the individual lashes that I apply off camera after this, so I'm looking to get the volume at the base of the lash here, which is another reason a black pencil isn't totally necessary for this look. We're already getting that intense drama from the mascara. And then dipping into that cream eyeshadow again, I'm using this to line the lips. Now this is a great little trick, especially for a monochromatic look like this. I want the undertone in the browns we use for both the eyes and the lips to match perfectly. Otherwise, even if the brown in the lip is slightly more warm or slightly more cool toned than the eye, it throws the look off completely. So to match it up perfectly, I'm just using the same product, and remember, it's a cream, so it has the same consistency as a lipstick. Afterwards, I'm using the shade LP6 from the Makeup by Mario Pro Matte Lip Palette and blending the smallest amount of this onto the center of the lip for a hint of red undertone. And I'm using an eyeshadow brush to do this for a diffused effect. Next up, I'm taking this Kosas Wet Lip Oil Plumping Gloss in the shade Dip and popping this right on top. I think since the skin is a soft matte finish, the eyeshadow is a soft matte finish, that a glossy lip adds for some nice contrast and variation to the finishes. And to make sure this makeup lasts all day, I'm using the One Size Until Dawn Mattifying Waterproof Setting Spray to set and lock this makeup into place, which makes this the final step in how I created this monochromatic browns for fall makeup tutorial on our naturally beautiful model. There we have it, kids. I hope y'all enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, be sure to give this video a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out more of my work on my Instagram at Painted by Spencer. And until next time, I'll see you soon.